A poor boy from Scotland worked 12 hours a day for £1.20 a week. How did he become one of the richest men in the world? And what did he know that you still don't? That boy was Andrew Carnegie, and the 9 habits that turned him into a billionaire can change your financial life, starting today. It's not magic, it's not luck. They're simple steps anyone can follow to get out of a tight spot or even double their income in months. Stick with me, because you're about to discover what few people put into practice, but what could be your roadmap to prosperity. Carnegie wasn't just rich. He was the embodiment of the American dream. Born in a small one-room house in Scotland, he moved to the United States as a child when his family was struggling to survive. His father was a weaver, but when machines took over the industry, the family had no choice but to start over in America. And they were poor, so poor that they often didn't have money for food. Most people in Carnegie's situation would have accepted their fate. They would have worked hard, barely survived, and never expected life to get better. But not Carnegie. He had something most people didn't, an unshakable belief that he could overcome his circumstances. And that's the first lesson. Your current situation doesn't define your future. Your mindset does. Carnegie didn't see himself as a poor boy from Scotland. He saw himself as someone destined for something greater, and because of that, he looked for opportunities everywhere. When he was 16, he got a job as a telegraph messenger. The pay was a little better, but more importantly, he was surrounded by successful people. He memorized company names, learned to send and receive messages quickly, and became so valuable that within a year, he was promoted to telegraph operator. What made Carnegie different from the thousands of other poor boys working factory jobs? It was his mindset. Most people in his position accepted their circumstances as unchangeable. But Carnegie refused to believe that poverty was permanent. He understood that success wasn't just about where you started, but about how you saw yourself and what actions you took. He trained himself to think like someone who would one day be successful, even when there was no proof that success would come. This mindset led him to seek knowledge, develop new skills, and take on challenges others avoided. Instead of complaining about the long hours and tough conditions, he saw his early struggles as stepping stones to something greater. This ability to shift his perspective, to see himself as more than just a poor worker, was the foundation for everything he would later achieve. And that brings us to the second lesson. The fastest way to move forward is to become valuable. Carnegie didn't complain about his job or wait for someone to notice his potential. He worked harder than everyone else, developed rare skills, and made himself indispensable. That's why he caught the attention of Thomas Scott, a top executive at the Pennsylvania Railroad. Scott took him under his wing, mentored him, and eventually put him in charge of railroad operations. And that's when things really took off. But becoming valuable isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. Carnegie didn't just put in long hours. He made sure he was learning skills that set him apart. He paid attention to details others ignored, like memorizing important names and mastering new technologies. He also positioned himself in places where he could meet influential people, proving that being in the right environment is just as important as effort. Many people work hard their entire lives, but never rise above their current level because they don't develop unique, in-demand skills. Carnegie understood that to be noticed and rewarded, you need to offer something others can't easily replace. Now, before we continue, here's something to think about. What if Carnegie had never gone above and beyond? What if he had just done the bare minimum at work? He would have remained a telegraph operator for years, struggling to survive. But because he went the extra mile, he was noticed. And that single connection with Scott changed his life forever. And that's the third lesson. Your network is your net worth. Carnegie understood the power of relationships. He didn't just work hard, he built relationships with powerful people. He listened, learned, and positioned himself to seize opportunities. He understood that success wasn't just about working hard in isolation, but about aligning with the right people who could open doors and present opportunities you wouldn't find on your own. Once he was in the railroad business, he started investing. First, he put money into a company that made sleeping cars for railroads. Then, he invested in bridges, iron, and steel because he saw where the future was headed. By the time he was 30, Carnegie was worth millions. And this is where most people would stop. They'd cash out and live comfortably, but not Carnegie. And that's the fourth lesson. The rich get richer because they reinvest. Carnegie didn't just spend his money. He used it to build something bigger. He founded Carnegie Steel, the company that would eventually make him one of the richest men in history. He took everything he learned in the railroad business and applied it to steel production. He figured out how to produce steel faster and cheaper than anyone else, and he dominated the industry. Most people think wealth is about how much money you make, but true wealth comes from what you do with that money. Instead of spending on luxuries or hoarding cash, Carnegie strategically reinvested, putting his money into growing industries. He understood that money sitting in a bank account wouldn't multiply. It needed to be put to work. This principle applies to anyone, regardless of income level. Even small amounts of money, when reinvested wisely, whether in stocks, businesses, or self-improvement, can grow exponentially over time. Carnegie's approach proves that financial success isn't just about earning money, but about using it continuously to create more growth opportunities. But let's pause for a second, because this is where most people go wrong. They think getting rich is about having a big idea or getting lucky. But Carnegie's success wasn't about luck. It was about timing and execution. He saw that America was expanding. Railroads, bridges, skyscrapers, they all needed steel. So instead of chasing quick money, he positioned himself in the middle of a growing industry. And that's the fifth lesson. Figure out where the money is going and get there first. Carnegie didn't invest randomly. He studied trends and anticipated future demand. He understood that true wealth isn't created by following the crowd, but by getting ahead of it. While others focused on short-term gains, he looked at where industries were headed and positioned himself accordingly. This strategy is just as relevant today as it was in Carnegie's time. The wealthiest people in the world, from tech entrepreneurs to real estate moguls, identify emerging markets and invest early. Whether it's artificial intelligence, renewable energy, or new financial technologies, the key is to identify industries on the rise and secure a position before they explode in value. Carnegie's success teaches us that wealth isn't about luck. It's about recognizing patterns, taking calculated risks, and moving before everyone else. Carnegie Steel made him a billionaire, but here's something amazing. He didn't hoard his wealth. In fact, he did something that shocked everyone. At the height of his success, he wrote an essay called The Gospel of Wealth. In it, he said something radical. The man who dies rich dies in disgrace. That's because Carnegie believed money wasn't the goal. It was a tool. A tool to build, grow, and most importantly, give back. By the end of his life, he had given away 90% of his fortune. He built over 2,500 libraries, funded universities, and donated to countless causes. And that's the sixth lesson. True success isn't about how much you earn, but what you do with it. Carnegie understood that wealth without purpose was meaningless. He believed those who amassed great fortunes had a responsibility to use their money for the greater good. His philosophy wasn't just about charity, it was about creating opportunities for others to succeed as well. The libraries he built gave millions of people access to knowledge, something he deeply valued as a self-educated man. His approach teaches us that true legacy isn't measured in dollars, but in the impact we leave behind. Whether through mentorship, philanthropy, or building something meaningful, the ultimate measure of success is how we use our resources to improve the world. But there's more. Carnegie also had a powerful philosophy about personal growth and success. He believed that reading and self-education were the keys to upward mobility. Despite having little formal education, he became one of the most well-informed men of his time, constantly seeking knowledge. And that's the seventh lesson: never stop learning. Carnegie understood that knowledge was the ultimate tool for success, and he made continuous learning a priority. He didn't rely solely on school. He actively sought out books, mentors, and new experiences to expand his understanding of the world. His dedication to learning is why he later funded thousands of public libraries, believing that access to knowledge could help others rise, just as he had. Today, this lesson is more relevant than ever. In a rapidly changing world, those who continuously learn and adapt will always have an advantage over those who remain stagnant. Whether through reading online courses or developing new skills, investing in your education is one of the most powerful ways to ensure long-term success. Another key lesson Carnegie lived by was surrounding himself with people smarter than him. He once said, "No man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself." He built a team of experts, delegated responsibilities, and trusted them to make important decisions. And that's the eighth lesson: leverage the intelligence of others. Carnegie understood that no one becomes truly successful alone. He actively sought out individuals with skills he didn't have and empowered them to lead. This allowed him to scale his business far beyond what he could have achieved on his own. Often, people try to do everything themselves, afraid that relying on others is a weakness. But in reality, the ability to recognize talent, delegate effectively, and learn from experts is a great strength. The most successful entrepreneurs, CEOs, and investors follow this principle, building teams, surrounding themselves with talent, and leveraging collective intelligence to achieve extraordinary results. And finally, the ninth lesson: be relentless in pursuing opportunities. Carnegie didn't wait for luck. He created his own opportunities by taking calculated risks. He wasn't afraid to fail because he knew failure was part of the journey to success. He once said, "The secret of success lies not in doing your own work, but in recognizing the best person to do it." Carnegie's success wasn't the result of a single lucky break. It was the result of constantly seeking and acting on opportunities. He took risks when others hesitated, whether investing in industries before they boomed or introducing new production methods to stay ahead of the competition. Many people let the fear of failure stop them from taking action. But Carnegie understood that every failure was simply a lesson leading to the next success. The key is to keep moving forward, adapting and seizing opportunities when they arise. Those who wait for the perfect moment often get left behind, while those who take action, even imperfectly, create their own success. And if you're enjoying these lessons, leave a comment below saying which one resonated with you the most. Share your thoughts and experiences, because success is a journey we can build together. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't wait any longer. Here, you'll find powerful insights that can transform your financial and personal life. Andrew Carnegie left a legacy that goes far beyond his wealth. He showed us that success isn't just about accumulating money, but about creating value, impacting lives, and never stopping growth. And now, you have the same blueprint he used to build an empire. It's up to you to put it into practice.